And we are just a few hours away, actually, about roughly 12 hours away from the SAG Awards being announced. So we'll go ahead and we'll put down my final predictions here for who I think is in and who I think is out here at SAG. And this is, when I looked at this list again here for figuring out who's in, who's out, there's some tough choices you got to make in some of these categories. Because it's always, now it's going to be more difficult, going forward, I think, because we'll have 6 contenders at the Golden Globes. We'll have 6 or more contenders at Critics' Choice. And as long as SAG doesn't announce before them, they could obviously always switch their schedule. But the way they have it set up now, with them being now later in the season, this, you got to whittle it down to 5, unless they want to open it up to 6 in the future as well. But for now, let's go ahead and I'm going to get the predictions out of the way first here. If I'm a little hyped and a little bit more energized this time versus last time. Number 1, it's a little earlier. Number 2, I actually just got out of Wicked, so I'll give some thoughts about that at the end. I'll just go ahead. We'll get the predictions out of the way first. Okay. So, starting with the stunt ensemble nominees, I'm going to just go ahead and stick with what I have here from the last time. So that's going to be, in alphabetical order, Deadpool and Wolverine, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Furiosa, A Mad Max Saga, and Gladiator 2 is my 5. I don't really see a reason to switch from any of these 5, with the exception of maybe Emilia Perez. You could fit in a movie like possibly Wicked in there. You could fit in Venom: The Last Dance, maybe even Twisters, stuff like that. But I don't know. I just think they'll want to get a Best Picture nominee in there, or a potential Best Picture nominee, or at least in this case a ensemble nominee in there. I think Emilia Perez best fits the bill. The other 4 being more action-centered films, or at least somewhat action-centered films, and something like Dune. Yeah, I think those are a little more obvious. Okay, so not much crosstalk on that one. Let's go ahead and jump to supporting actress here. This is going to be interesting. My 5, and again, I'm putting them in alphabetical order in my head right now, so because I don't have it listed that way yet. My 5 are Selena Gomez for Emilia Perez, Ariana Grande for Wicked, and then we go Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, Margaret Qualley for The Substance, and Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. Those are my 5. This feels weird. Now, Danielle Deadwyler missing for The Piano Lesson, that was one I was like, okay, it's really close, but I got to leave her out. And then the other one is Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. She did miss at Critics' Choice, that is true. And I do think The Brutalist, they'll give it some spots here later on, but I just looked at it and I'm like, God, I had to fit Ariana Grande in there. I had to fit Margaret Qualley in there. And Isabella Rossellini, kind of standing out as one of the few, major female characters in Conclave. I think that'll stick out to them, too. So, yeah, that's my picks there. It is tough to leave Deadwyler out. It's tough to leave Felicity Jones out. I'm trying to think, like, who else would stand a really good shot here. But Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor with Nickel Boys, she could pop in there tomorrow. I wouldn't be totally shocked to see her throw her hat back into the ring here. But, yeah. Otherwise, the only other one I really looked at here as a possible long shot, because she was on the BAFTA long list as well, was Jamie Lee Curtis for The Last Showgirl. Possible. It is possible. If she gets in, then I think you got to put Pamela Anderson in. I just think it's just too competitive a year for something like that to happen. I could be standard corrected here in a few hours, but we'll just have to wait and see. For the supporting actors, my 5 are Yura Borazov for Anora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, and Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2. So yeah, there's a few different possibilities here for sure. Ed Norton for Complete Unknown could happen. Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. I would also not say that's impossible. We could even, again, if Piano Lesson goes over really, really well, since it is a Netflix film and everything, I would even say Samuel L. Jackson could make his sole appearance here this year, nominated for The Piano Lesson. It could happen, but yeah. Otherwise, yeah, I'm standing by my prediction that Stanley Tucci, he's long listed at BAFTA. He could get one of the 6 slots there. But here at SAG, I think he'll miss out. And my genuine prediction is that he probably will miss BAFTA as well and then get in at the Oscars. So that's my thought there. Boy, this Best Actress race kind of feels like it's been flipped on its head, hasn't it, since Sunday? Um, yeah, here's my five here for Best Actress. I've got, and again, I'm putting them in alphabetical order now. I've got Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. I've got Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez. Then I have Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl, Mikey Madison for Nora, and Demi Moore for The Substance. That's my five. So Angelina, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm totally overreacting to her missing the long list at BAFTA. I don't think I'm completely overreacting to her losing the Globe to Fernanda Torres, who I think, again, here's the thing, and I looked it up. Pop quiz. When was the last time a Best Actress drama winner at the Golden Globes missed at the Oscars, who's a solo winner? Give up? The answer is it's never happened. It has never happened. That's pretty good goddamn odds, if you ask me. The only time it has ever happened is when there was a three-way tie in the late 80s, 88 to be exact. You had Shirley MacLaine end up not being nominated for Madam something. I couldn't pronounce it. Tchaikovsky or something. It was it was a smaller movie where she was a piano teacher. And it was one of those roles. I just think it was just kind of an underseen movie because Shirley had already won an Oscar, and stuff. So made sense that she didn't quite make it in for that. That's the only time a winner at the Golden Globes for actress drama has never been nominated at the Oscars. That would be a long, long, long standing stat if that were to be broken when we get to the Oscars. But here at SAG, I think Fernanda is, she's going up a hill. They just really, genuinely, rarely nominate the foreign language performances. If it's not in English, they really rarely nominate it. That being said, I do have Carla in, and most of her stuff is in Spanish. That is true. But with that, it is on Netflix. It is Emilia Perez, which just won at the Globes for a comedy musical film. Feels like she's pretty safe. She's really one of two or three contenders in this category that I think are safe. It's just really, really tough to whittle this down again to five. Now, Angelina Jolie, Maria is on Netflix. I get that. It's tough to leave her out, but I can't do it with her. I think Marianne Jean-Baptiste, I think she'll get in at BAFTA, and I think she's still got a shot at the Oscar. It's going to be tight. I think Fernanda is definitely stealing some of her thunder there with that win at the Globes, where Marianne was not nominated. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Moving on to Best Actor. My five here are Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. Then I have Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Daniel Craig for Queer, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, and Ralph Fiennes for Conclave. Those are my five. I know a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon with Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. I didn't look to see when the SAG voting ended, or they could put him in for a different man. Either one, I think, is reasonable. But again, that's been my argument kind of since the beginning of the season is, obviously the time he got in was for the Golden Globes, and that's when he was in separate categories. Critics' Choice, let me remind myself here. Critics' Choice did not put him in, correct? Last I checked here, let me triple check my sources here. Yeah, when they had a chance to put him in, they put in Hugh Grant for Heretic. So when he's been competing against himself so far this year, with the exception being BAFTA, where a different man didn't shortlist or longlist in anything, then they put him in. But when he's competing against himself, especially since A Different Man was the performance he won for, that just makes me think that's going to cannibalize itself, and I think that he's going to miss with both nominations. Otherwise, any other possible contenders, I would say Jesse Eisenberg for Real Pain, in case that one could come back. He could really use a nomination here tomorrow to kind of buoy his candidacy, especially since he's not going to be at BAFTA. And the movie overall, I think, at the Oscars, it's kind of fighting right now for its spot, isn't it? I think it's pretty solid in its screenplay and supporting actor bids, but outside of that, what else is it really vying for? Like, it's not really a big threat in any of the tech categories. Even then, you'd have to really, really, really throw a line out there for something like film editing. That's going to be about its only spot I think it can be nominated. I think that one's going to struggle. And especially if Jesse can't get into Best Actor, then you can't, I don't really see an avenue to that movie getting him in and then missing Best Picture. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Otherwise, could Hugh Grant repeat here again at SAG? It's possible. I don't know. I think that one, Heretic, is not really a high priority for the voting members of SAG, though. So yeah, I'd say let's be careful on that. And then yeah, with Daniel Craig, I think Queer is seen enough that I think it'll be seen more so than something like The Apprentice or A Different Man, which did struggle with their theatrical bids and stuff. Queer, I mean, it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't lighting up the box office or anything when it was in its limited run. But yeah, and Craig, I think overall, it feels, the time kind of feels right for him to start getting some of these major bids again. So yeah, that's my reasoning on that at least. Now, for film ensemble, my 5 are Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, and Saturday Night. I'm sticking with Saturday Night. It just feels like one of those SAG moves that they'll put something like that in. I could be dead wrong, and they could really want to prop up something like Wicked, something like Sing Sing, something like Complete Unknown to take that 5th spot. And I could be dead wrong, but it just feels like one of those SAG moves. It's a huge ensemble in that film. It just feels like the move they're going to make. I think Emilia Perez is really safe. Conclave feels pretty safe. And Nora should be safe. I know it didn't have its best night there on Sunday, but again, when you see the movie, and I think the voters are seeing the movie, you do notice that cast really does work as an ensemble. Plus, even though, yes, it didn't win at the Globes there, I do think it is still one of the 3 or 4 movies that are primed to win Best Picture. Like, it's in a spot where it still can win. So I think again, wanting to kind of, preview that, I think that's a definite thing for the SAG voting members to do. Brutalist, I think, improved its odds for sure with its Golden Globe win. Conclave and Emilia Perez feel like they're relatively safe bets. And I think with Wicked, the 2 lead performances do stand out. They really do stand out. And I want to say, too, because we had this problem with Marriage Story, and I, again, just got out of the film, so this really... I wasn't originally going to pick it, and I put it in for like 2 minutes the other day, and then I took it back out. But when you get to the end credits and you see that first screen designation for cast, they did put Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo on the same page. So last I checked, when you do it that way, that means that those are the only 2 that can get credited with the cast, if I'm reading correctly, if I remember correctly. That being said, I think didn't Don't Look Up do something similar, and that one they allowed the whole cast, so maybe that rules out the window. But still, with Wicked, my main point still being, I think the 2 lead actresses really do stand out from the rest of the cast. I mean, Goldblum is fine in it, and Michelle Yeoh is fine in it. The rest of the cast, the students and stuff, they're fine in it, but it's really those 2. So, yeah, I don't think it makes it in for ensemble. And again, I could be wrong on that. This could just be the popularity of the movie getting in for its ensemble, but we'll see. And then with Sing Sing, I feel like that one has faded a little bit. It really struggled with the BAFTA long lists. Didn't do well at the Globes. Critics' Choice liked it quite a bit. That could just be a Critics' Choice thing at the end of the day. I still think Sing Sing is definitely a threat in Best Picture as far as getting nominated. I don't think it can quite win. It'd be a real struggle to see that thing win, especially since it doesn't look particularly great at nailing 2 acting categories. I think Coleman Domingo feels relatively safe, but Clarence Macklin, I pulled him out from supporting actor at the Oscars. He's missed at the Critics' Choice. He is long-listed at BAFTA. He can definitely get in there. But, yeah, outside of that, I don't think it's safe in, like, the original song category. It could miss there. It already has at a couple of the other award shows, so that's not a terrific sign. I believe it did miss. Didn't it miss for? Yeah, it missed at Critics' Choice. That's right. Yeah, I pulled it up just to double check. But yeah, it's just been kind of a weird year for that movie. It just doesn't seem to really be fully landing everywhere. So I think it's close here at SAG. It's a very diverse cast, and they do like their diverse casts here at SAG. So that could be one I'm just overlooking. Complete Unknown could be that kind of Bohemian Rhapsody type of nomination that happens here, where it's, musical biopic, relatively, big cast and everything. So that could definitely happen. Piano Lesson, I think, again, this is probably the brightest spot for that movie. If it's gonna do anything at the Oscars, it has to start here. It has to do something here last minute at SAG to kind of contend. But even then, I don't quite think it's gonna do it. So yeah. So I think that's my predictions there. So I think Amelia Perez is going to lead the pack again. I have it down for 5 nods. And I think it really has a shot at landing those 5. Brutalist I have getting 3. Conclave I have getting 3. Anora I have also getting 3. Saturday Night just the 1. Wicked I have a pair of nominations for that one. The Substance I have the 2 gals getting in. Anyone else for repeat nominations? Sing Sing I have getting a pair. Complete Unknown has a shot at getting more than Timothée, but I'm just not quite confident in it happening. So yeah, that's my predictions there. So yeah, we'll be here tomorrow morning. Not quite so bright, not quite so early. It'll be kind of a little bit of a later morning there on the West Coast, but yeah. Otherwise, let me just go ahead. I'll get my thoughts on Wicked out of the way. This is one of the best films of the year. Yeah, I was, maybe I just have been kind of, maybe not lowering expectations, but I went into this thing hoping, I'm like, I hope it's good. I mean, again, I always go in with same expectations, just don't suck. The trailers never really wowed me. They never, made me, jump out of my seat, I gotta go see Wicked or anything. I always, I wanted to see it anyways, because I've seen the stage play a couple times, that on, I shouldn't say stage play, it is a musical after all. I've seen the musical a couple times, but, yeah, and it's a generally good story. I do like The Wizard of Oz and stuff, so it's, when you see those, tea leaves start to happen for where the story is going to go later on and stuff, that's always fun. But yeah, genuinely speaking, though, now I've seen the movie, now I get it for Ariana Grande's performance. I think she actually is pretty damn good in the movie. I mean, she's fine in the movie up until that key scene. The key scene where they're at the dance thing, whatever, and she and Cynthia Erivo have their dance moment. From that moment on, I'm like, okay, now I get it. Now I get it. Now I really get it. And again, those two do share quite a bit of screen time together and stuff, so it's good. And Cynthia Erivo is great in it too. They're both really great. Really good chemistry between the two. Great casting. I don't think it feels like stunt casting, or anything. They got them together. For the most part, I think their singing's good. It does sound a little auto-tuned once in a while. That caught my ear, so I didn't, it's not like an amazing, best musical ever because of little things like that. Supporting cast was good. I do enjoy Jeff Goldblum as the wizard. I thought that was kind of spot-on casting. Michelle Yeoh does good in her role. The kids are all good. Voice acting from a little bit here and there, Peter Dinklage as a voice actor in it, as it was like a professor of who's a goat and stuff. That was pretty good, The visual effects are a little spotty. It's a smaller budget. Arguably, this thing could have had an even bigger budget, and they could have arguably made it some better effects. They're passable. It's not really what the movie's about. It's really about the two characters and their dynamic, and seeing, the two characters gradually change. One, more so than the other, obviously. But yeah, I think that's what the story is really about. That's what the musical was about. It wasn't always about the musical numbers, even though a lot of them are really good. And the ones that you're waiting for, in the movie and stuff, yeah, when they show up, they do a damn good job of them. I love the way this movie is shot, too. The cinematography is actually really great in this. Costume, set design, all of that was spectacular. I even really like the editing in this. God, they're just all around. I think John M. Chu really outdid himself directing this movie. It's one of the best films of the year. I really think, aside from the, some more, again, little obvious auto-tune things here and there with some of the high notes, some of the extended notes and stuff, it does sound like it's a little generated and stuff. I want to see them do it live and just make sure that's not the case. It just really sounded that way to me. I'd be shocked to learn if it was 100% all the way through genuine. I don't think they sang live on set like Les Mis, but I'm not saying that. But yeah, it was just a couple things here and there did bug me a little bit with that. But otherwise, yeah, this is actually really great, and kicks the shit out of the West Side Story remake. That's all I can say as far as recent musicals go. Yeah, it's kind of it's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's one of the best films of the year. for sure, and it's one I didn't go into it expecting it to be one of the absolute best films of the year, but I just again always say have the same expectation, don't suck, and it outdid itself. I thought this was spectacular. This was really good. I don't know. I guess I don't really have much else to add here, but yeah. Yeah, I think we hit everything. When we have not tomorrow after the live reactions, because I'll kind of have time to do the live reactions, but I won't have time for like a hell of a lot else. We will be a little bit more limited on time here tomorrow, so I won't go quite into like updated Oscar predictions or anything just yet. After now seeing the BAFTA long list, and then after SAG nominations come out, of course. I won't quite have time for that, but we can spend some time on that maybe later this week, or of course early next week, before we get into final Oscar predictions, and then some BAFTA predictions as well. So, yep, I think that's all I got for now. We'll be back here in roughly 12 hours. We'll see how I do, and yeah, this will be a big point here for this season. Missing SAG here with only 5 slots, and it's going to be the only ceremony with 5 slots. This is going to be telling. This is going to be really, really telling tomorrow for those, especially the 2 acting races for actresses, both supporting and lead. It's going to be, yeah. A couple scenarios I think are going to be thrown out, and a couple contenders I think are going to be hurt tomorrow. So we'll see what SAG brings us.